beautiful co-creators of the new paradigm. Thank you for tuning in again with my channel. Last video, I was reading to you from my book In the Making on politics by Arjun of the Yael in a Q&A format. I was quite insecure about that first trial, not so sure whether I found the right flow of reading and asking questions and answering them. So I thought I had to insert a bell sound to make a difference between a question being asked and an answer being given. And most people in the comments said they hated the bell sounds. I can see how they were indeed maybe too loud, too intrusive, and quite distracting for the flow of information being shared with you guys. So I found a solution. I hope you like this better. I know I do. This is way more subtle to listen to. The new sound that makes a difference between a question being asked and an answer being given is this one. And it's a dog clicker. I really like dogs. I kind of see it as a switch being flipped from one speaker to another. The change of a perspective, or perhaps, you know, how you have these interviews sometimes in movies and they change the over-shoulder overview from one speaker to the other when they're in a dialogue. So to me right now, that sound means the shifting of the scene, so from the one person to the other. And the reason that I'm still even inserting a sound is because sometimes while I'm reading, I may be so focused on the text that I forget to have my voice rise at the end to make super duper clear that I'm asking the question. So this is my solution right now. Of course, life is an ongoing experiment. So if you hate this too, definitely let me know and I will come up with something else. So this is all exploration to me anyway. Enjoy the upcoming segment of the chapter on politics. This one will be a little bit more general on the idea of voting, but also in connection to the idea of ET contact and disclosure. Yet that particular aspect of the question will be answered even more in depth, also involving the gray timeline and what politics looked like for them on that version of Earth in the next video. So giving you the cliffhanger right up front. Anyway, love you guys so much. Thank you so much for tuning in. Hope you enjoy and see you at the end of this next reading segment. Because of the political unrest on our globe at this time, recently I decided to re-listen to a particular event from 2019 by another channel who also connects with an entity from the hybrid lineage. This event explores the idea of a shifting window of contact between us as humans and any extra dimensionals such as yourself. Right at the start of this event, a deeply urgent request was made to all listeners to cast our political vote for the US election that was going on at the time. It was explicitly recommended even to cast the votes early, if at all possible, as to avoid manipulation of the results in the counting afterwards. It was said that, depending on the outcome of that election, open contact possibly could no longer be discussed, as we, as humans, might shift to the timeline of the Greys, who, as we all know, pretty much destroyed their planet. Once the results of this election were known, the same being congratulated us, which to me sounded as if the other possible outcome of these elections must then have been the timeline leading us to possibly, quote-unquote, turn into the Greys. Now, I did not then, nor do I now, have any political preferences. I just don't resonate with any of it, to be honest. It kept nagging in the back of my mind, though, that open contact was implicated to somehow be directly connected to the way the US political landscape looks. Could you tell us some more about this? Thank you for this sharing. Let us draw some general outlines and then get more detailed on how we look at this. So, first of all, any relevant quote-unquote windows of opportunity regarding open contact or anything else really, in essence are always created from within you. as you don't change the world that you are quote-unquote on, rather you shift your focus to a version of Earth that matches the dominant vibration that is active within you at that moment in your time-space reality construct. Any interactions you observe with any one of us, including how certain messages are being translated, will therefore also always be a perfect match with your inner vibration at any given moment in time. How you choose to then use such messages or not in your own individual journey of expansion, as always, remains entirely up to you. Now, the same is true when it comes to your politics. Here too, you only perceive reflections that contain at least the possibility for you to play with what you are being offered in your own way. And even when it comes to your elections, all possible outcomes of any election already exist as simultaneous parallel realities. Not all of them might be probable for you, but as possibilities, they all already exist. And no matter whether you vote or don't even show up to cast your vote in a political manner, you will, no matter what, be a co-creator of the outcome of any election, just by the mere thoughts and beliefs you choose to hold about them, and a series of other factors that we will get into in a moment. In either case, whatever the outcome may be, you will always automatically align with the version of Earth that brings you the perfect reflection, politically or otherwise, that harmonizes with the dominant vibration that is active in you at that moment. Now you can, and often do, hold another vibration whilst you are still looking at a reflection of a previous one. And so, in a sense, due to the nature of your spiritual exploration in the physical dream, you may find yourself quote-unquote walking in the quote-unquote echo of a vibrational state that either you were holding onto before or that no longer has too much of an overlap with where you may desire to be. This echo phase, however, may be experienced by many of you as lasting shorter and shorter, as your higher self invites you to become increasingly consciously aware of how you are all individually and together, creating your own version of reality. Nonetheless, not until you have fully embodied any newly preferred state shall you see the crystallization of this state as matter reflected back to you, as this is part of how you have chosen to experience your journey in the physical dream, on your earth in this form. Now, the most active vibration in you that quote-unquote determines the outcome of any specific election, whether you actively contributed as a voter or not, depends on a lot more than just your seemingly direct beliefs surrounding your political system. This vibration also includes beliefs you carry about yourself and the world at large, your relationship toward the idea of the collective and towards the idea of anyone else, though perhaps anonymously active in the background, that you perhaps believe may influence the outcome of any election. The eventual vibration active in you regarding any event, political or not, in some occasions may even be colored in by the nature of your soul's exploration theme in this life. Think of countries where, from the rational mind's point of view, a dictator appears to be ruling the show. And think of the many souls who decided to incarnate in that society. Now the soul understands how these ingredients can be used for spiritual expansion. Such a political atmosphere may add to a personal theme of exploring self-worth or allowing an individual to quote-unquote think out of the box in ways that they wouldn't feel motivated to had they perhaps been born under another flag, so to speak. Though this needn't be looked at as an obstacle that you as a persona self have no say in, as even that at some point in your evolution will be something that, from a state of full alignment, you can become consciously aware of, and some of you already do. And once fully conscious of it, then this too, and now we are speaking about the soul's theme in this incarnation, can be transformed, so to speak, when relevant. Also, the degree to which you feel directly affected by your government differs per person. Each of you plays their own entirely subjective manifestation game when it comes to these type of things. Voting in that way, as you have created this idea, is like playing with a multi-layered mirror. All other co-creators participating can be seen as permission slips to eventually help you see more of yourself. Remember, we've said before that, in a sense, it is just you in a room full of mirrors. All other people are real, they do exist, but you will always see your version of them. And since voting, as a rule, is a collective co-creation in your general belief system, all views and beliefs you hold regarding other people and even the political system at large will weigh into the mix. So what then, if I feel that I simply do not resonate with politics, or at least not with the way they look like right now, and so I'd rather not vote? Well, first of all, whether you go and vote in that specific way or not, you vote. You vote energetically all the time, every second of the day, every step along the way, with every thought you decide to rest your divine attention upon, you vote. With every feeling you choose to entertain or hold on to, you vote, you vote, you vote. And acting or deciding not to act, in that sense, are ways of voting too. Circumstances don't matter, only state of being does. There are no exceptions to that, so it isn't circumstances don't matter except for when it comes to your politics. Now, of course, you can choose to tell yourself that it is different when it comes to your politics, and surely you could back that up by telling yourself, for instance, that the idea that you quote-unquote have to vote in this manner to quote-unquote make a difference in the world has the momentum of the entire collective behind it. Yet, first of all, a lot of people already no longer truly believe that this is so. And also, the quote-unquote making a difference part of that sentence already reveals to you that you are now no longer talking about shifting realities. Now you are coming from the fear-based ego that believes that it has to make it all happen. And of course, as a permission slip, voting still may have the effect of you allowing yourself to focus your attention into a certain reality which aligns with what you thought was the desired outcome. Yet, if there is anything else that needs to be seen regarding that entire system of your politics, it will eventually come to the light. As we know that most of you who are receiving this information right now have an even deeper desire for transparency compared to any desire you may have ever had regarding any particular election, wherever on your world. The magician's hat. Now, everything, besides looking at it from the surface level of your reality, can also be looked at as a symbol in your physical dream. In voting, you play a specific game of hide and seek, where for a moment all votes are in the magician's hat, so to speak, and anything could happen whilst they're in there. Look at it in this way. The moment the counting is ongoing and undecided, is like the audience waiting for the magician to pick the note with the final results on it from that hat. All of you, those who voted and those who decided not to, co-create the outcome in these moments. Yes, even when fraud takes place in the background, as that idea sometimes may have to be included for some people to shift to the version of reality that will invite them to see the highest degree of spiritual growth in the next chapter of their lives. So, you are co-creator of the outcome, whether you voted or not. Children and immigrants without papers all co-created along. without ever even being given a chance to actually vote politically. You all shift together, and simultaneously and paradoxically, the only shift you reveal to yourself is your alignment with a version of Earth where the entire collective has decided that either this or that decision would come out of the high head. Now, when you deliberately choose to no longer vote politically, you may wish to ask yourself for your own motivation by investigating the following. Would you have gone if the situation was different? What beliefs are tied to this decision? Do you believe voting is pointless? And on a deeper level, what does this mean to you? And do you have a set of beliefs available that, according to your worldview, lets you know there are alternative ways available to you to express yourself? If so, what are ways that call you as a means of expressing your vision for the planet towards yourself and towards others? Questioning yourself in this way may eventually simply lead you back to the formula, as you may then begin to ask yourself, where do I feel empowered to act, and can I allow myself to do so? Following this red thread of inner exploration may give you an idea of what the vibrational reality that you are quote-unquote coming from in your decision looks like. And that then in turn may give you an idea of the version of reality you may then in a sense be voting on energetically. As in all cases, what you put in is what you get back. Note though that voting on something because you wish to quote-unquote get rid of something else, or voting because you believe there is no other way to quote-unquote get to a certain goal may all seem pretty fine on the surface level, but neither one of these is self-empowering, and neither of these represents a state of abundance. This is why it has been said by your wise men since the history of mankind to know thyself, as the multi-layered crystal of your essence knows many facets and perspectives that all cross-connect to one another in miraculous ways. A person that has trouble gaining clarity on a certain subject may in fact be better off simply steering their focus away from that subject for a while, whilst they embrace a feeling state of love, calmness and inspiration through the permission slip of another subject that brings them more joy. In other words, when a person feels forced to do something, or chooses to buy into a narrative that leans on a heavy, you must do such and such or else, or when they feel they have to choose the lesser of two evils, for instance, their motivation of feeling cornered in that particular case will carry into the future unfolding of their lives, be it on that same subject or another. This will differ per person. You all know how you can manifest physical complaints to be reflectors of mental stress, or how you may accidentally walk into the door when your mind is somewhere else. Likewise, feeling forced to do something in one segment of your life can reflect back to you in a form of resistance seemingly coming to you from a completely different direction. This is what synchronicity does, be it positive or negative synchronicity in the ways you experience it. It simply shows you that in fact all is one, that all is tied together, with you in the absolute center. And therefore getting to know yourself and feeling free to allow your heart and your gut to have a say in your decisions is such a powerful tool in remembering your own God-Goddess creatorship, in remembering your connection to Source, your relationship to higher self. In looking at the outcome, any outcome, of a political election in your world, no matter what the results are, there will always be invitations for growth hiding inside of them, as nothing is ever stagnant and everything keeps on evolving. There are no dead ends. Those who choose to use that outcome in a positive way will allow more positive reflections in their version of reality, no matter what anyone else may say or think. And by using the outcome in a positive way, we mean truly grounding that state of being, that vision, into physical reality. In other words, it is less likely you will see positive reflections just by mentally repeating that you have decided you are on a positive timeline. If this is not something you truly allow yourself to surrender into on a feeling level as well, despite perhaps having zero material proof to back up this idea at that time. This is you planting a vibrational seed for a desired reality, and this is you allowing yourself to shift into full energetic alignment with it. The crystallization rests on your feeling state, and then the allowing yourself to act in alignment with that. It is not just a mental process. Thank you. It helps to be reminded that it isn't all as black and white as I thought it to be. But then still, what is the potential influence of our current political landscape on disclosure and open contact as you see it right now? Open contact with us and other extra-dimensional beings is already taking place on many simultaneously parallel existing versions of your planet. In fact, it often is from these quote-unquote possible future versions of your world that we are speaking with you in these type of communications. So we know this to be a reality that most definitely, even now, is still available for a large segment of your population as we read your collective energy in this here and now. This was channeled, by the way, on the 11th of March in 2022. Linearly speaking, there are many ways that can, quote-unquote, lead you to this and many other positive probable versions of your world through the ideas of time and space as you create these. In fact, there are an infinite amount of pathways that meander into these realities, and still, even from your current political landscape, as you refer to it, as well as from whatever that landscape might have looked like had your most recent elections turned out differently. Most of your collective, the collective you believe yourself to be surrounded by right now, energetically signed up for a temporary increase of the illusion of polarity. And this idea would have been presented to you one way or another. So either way, via either one of the candidates of your most recent election, this would have expressed itself simply in different manners. The hidden invitation in all of this is for humanity to deeper investigate your personal divine creatorship versus the illusion of, amongst other things, codependency, and some other themes that we will gladly dive deeper into with you at some other point in time. In any case, the president, as you look at this idea in your co-created storyline, simply does not have the ultimate say about open contact. You do. Now, you can co-create a timeline wherein it appears as if the President of the United States has a final say in that, or wherein it may appear as if all of this is depending on your political landscape. And there are plenty people walking around on your planet today who believe this to be true. Those who defend such ideas, in a sense, quote-unquote, vote for that reality and do not believe that you as a species could represent yourselves in any other way without potentially getting into trouble. You can choose to look at your society and its possible open communication with other worlds in this way if you wish. This, of course, remains up to you. Ultimately, you are free to choose from any kind of idea, because that's all you are playing with anyway. Your entire political construct at its fundament is an idea, an agreement, and it stands or falls by your willingness to hold it in position. A quantum leap. You, as an individual, will shift to the group consciousness that appears to either support or limit whatever you consciously or subconsciously believe is possible for you as a person and for you as a species in any given here and now. Energetically speaking, We know that your entire collective for the past millennia has been asking, you could say, for a type of quantum leap in consciousness. Every single soul on earth right now decided to focus its I am awareness into your world at a time of profound acceleration and transformation. Part of this leap is being quote-unquote prepared for, so to speak, by the collective insertion of certain surprises and plot twists on your world stage. These, in a sense, help you to quote-unquote break away from the old and allow yourself to orient in a new and altogether different manner, more from the inside out, as opposed to taking your cues from outer information and allowing that then to determine your thoughts, actions, and beliefs. Some of you may have started to think to yourselves that nothing seems to be that what it is presented to be anymore, or perhaps that it appears as if your opinion and the ideas about reality that are being entertained by others seem to be as far away from each other as you could possibly imagine them to be. This is all part of the temporary increase of the illusion of duality. This phase, by the way, is not something that quote-unquote overcomes you. It is a co-created shedding of the old. Like a baby chick intuitively understands how to peck its way out of the shell. The shell has become too tight, no longer comfortable, and so it simply knows it is time. Time to expand and, in a sense, to learn how to spread its wings. Perhaps you could look at it as a type of collective dark night of the soul. Now, we are not saying this needs to imply suffering or negativity, not at all. More so, it points out to what a strong degree some of you are ready to release yourselves of this eggshell. And those who feel truly challenged and do not know where to find the light shall have assistance from those among you who have started this journey earlier down the road, or who are picking up on it with the speed of light right now as we speak. It is all synchronistically organized by the harmonics of those following their inner truth. Those of you, the waymakers and pioneers of the new earth, you know who you are. Your beating heart, the shiver down your spine, that oddly sinking or elevating sensation just for a second, or the goosebumps on your arms right now. You, knowing that this is you we are speaking about, is the only confirmation you need. And as you allow yourselves to flow with this and not fight against the challenges that may come along with this path, you will find yourself more and more able to see that all of the ingredients that are being presented to you now, those via your media, as well as those that come to you through your dreams, all of it, depending on how you choose to interpret them, can be used by you as assistance on your journey. A sense of quote-unquote alienation from your world, no pun intended, may increase along the way. Yet for many of you, we know the light at the end of the tunnel is already becoming more and more tangible. As you know on a higher level, that all of these events are helping humanity to clear the path for all that needs to be seen, and then for that which can only be born after the eyes and hearts of at least a portion of your collective have been opened. However you choose to respond to these events, all of these truly invite you to find your own way of riding the wave and to remain centered along this journey. Thank you for staying all the way up until this point in the video. Hope you enjoyed. If you have any comments, ideas, or even questions for Arjun, you are so free and warmly invited to leave them in the comments below. More on the subject of politics and the great timeline in the next video. Until then, if you liked this video, please give it a like. And if you really liked this video, then do subscribe and don't forget to hit the bell button while you're at it. it so that you will get notifications every single time I upload a video on my channel. Thanks again for tuning in. I really appreciate it and look forward to see you in the next one. Bye!